Hi YouTube, it's Ty, and welcome to my channel, Test It with Ty, where I talk about the things that I'm testing and the things that are testing me. I am finally back to YouTubing after about a 2-week hiatus, so thank you for returning to my channel. We are back today with another Brown Girl on Colorism video, and as promised, in the series that we're doing on men, black men who say effed up things about dark-skinned black women. Actually, it was dark-skinned men, but I got a request from someone to do a video, and actually that person is my sister, Chandra Muhammad, and she asked that I do a video on Rev Run. She called me and she asked me if I was aware of his television show called All About the Washingtons, and I was not familiar with the show. It comes on Netflix and I don't have Netflix. She gave me her guest account and I watched 4 episodes of the show in its entirety, and there was one particular episode that really got to Chandra, and I will talk about that episode in this video, but the way that my sister described it, and she just said, you know, you gotta cover him in your series. It's like, this is just BS. And so we will get into that. And also, there were some other things that, as I was looking to see, you know, to find if there were other colorist things that Rev Run has said, I ended up finding some misogynistic things that he said. He and Tyrese had a talk show together on the OWN network, and some of the clips that I saw from that were very disturbing. And so, as usual, when we do these videos, I'm just putting it to you. Are these guys colorist? Is Rev Run colorist? Will you support him? Is he misogynistic? That doesn't always come up, but will you support him? Let me know. And I always leave it up to you to make the decision. Usually, if I'm bringing a video to you on a particular person, I've already made the decision myself to not support them, but I would never just tell you, don't you do it. But just want to put the information out there because as long as I'm going to be discussing colorism, I want to do more than just talk about it. And for me, still, I think that the best thing that we can do to combat colorism is to not support colorist people, especially in the entertainment place. Don't let our dollars and our time and our social media likes and, you know, view time go to people who we think are colorist. And so I'll discuss it, and I'll let you know where I stand on supporting him at the end of the video. Thanks, I'll be right back. Okay, so let me know if you watch this show or if you have seen this show. I'm really curious to know what your opinions are. Like I said, I buzzed through 4 episodes before I made this video. I believe it's only been on for 1 season. And I guess I'll go on and put up a picture of Rev Run's real family. The show is basically a comedy that is loosely based on his real life family. I believe in real life he has 6 children, and in the show he has 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. And one of the first things that you notice off bat is that the children on the show, with the exception of the oldest son, are definitely noticeably lighter than his children in real life. Rev Run and his wife have, now he's, I guess we would call him a brown man, about a medium complexion, and his wife is light, but their children all look like they're a little bit more brown than the both of them. However, though, the children on the show, the youngest daughter is a light-skinned girl, as well as the youngest boy, who is James from Underground. I don't know if any of you all watched that show, but I loved that show. And anyway, so it was, you know, kind of weird to see him because I didn't know that he was acting. And then the son, the oldest son on the show, is brown. He's a brown boy, about the same complexion as his real children. And what tripped me out more than anything is the casting call that they made for the daughter, the oldest daughter. Her name is Kiana Brown. I understand she's a singer. She doesn't even look as though she has a drop of black blood in her. I did go on and look her up. Apparently she is, they say African American, Latino, and Swedish. But anyway, so I'll put up the picture of his family on this video so you all can see that. And I will also put up a picture of the TV show family so that you can see that. And I don't know if I'll have enough space to put them side by side or if I'll need to do them one after the other. We'll just see once this video gets edited. But so again, that was the first thing that I noticed on the show. And then now the episode that got my sister so worked up had a girl, excuse me, a young lady by the name of Trinity Stokes. Now, when I looked her up, I saw that she was pretty popular on some Disney show. I don't have any children, and my nieces and nephews are grown at this point, so I don't keep up with it. But anyway, Trinity Stokes, her character played a girl who thankfully was smart. I will give him that. Let's not just say that it's all negative. But so just to kind of set up the episode, Rev Run's daughter teaches a coding class, and Trinity Stokes, her name, the character's name was Brianna in the episode, was one of the young girls who attends this coding class. It's a coding class for nothing but girls. And the character who was Rev Run's youngest daughter, she's been homeschooled all of her life. She's a genius, but she just started going to regular school, which is a private school, and every time she raises her hand to answer a question, which she has the correct answer, she's too nervous to speak. She just feels like all the eyes are on her, and she's waiting to get made fun of or something, so she doesn't have the confidence to speak yet. So her sister says, well, you know what, I have an idea. We can just test it out. Why don't you come to my coding class, and we'll get you used to speaking in front of people there. So she gets to the coding class, and her sister asks a question, which she had the answer to, but she raised her hand and still froze again. And so Trinity Stokes, Brianna, who is a dark-skinned girl, and that's why I said at least she's smart. She's depicted as smart in here, but she's a dark-skinned girl with just a whole lot of a whole lot of attitude. So she turns around and, what's wrong with her? Like, the way that she speaks, the black accent, if you will, is so strong. And, baby girl, why you can't say nothing? You got the right answer. Oh, at least she's smart. Is this your daughter? The way that she's talking, and she's asking the teacher, her sister, is this your daughter? Why you bring your daughter to class? And it's just like, it's so overly exaggerated with the fastness, the head snapping, the neck rolling, and all that. And so, but like I said, she's a smart girl, and I was glad to see her at least depicted as smart. But the youngest daughter on the show, whose character is afraid to speak in class, she sees this, and then she takes on that persona when she goes back to school. So she's back in school in a math class, and she raises her hand, and then she sees the whole thing again where she feels like all the eyes on her, and then so she starts to freeze, and she lowers her hand, but her teacher's already called her name to speak. And so out comes the voice of Brianna. Okay, I got the right answer, so check it. This is what y'all gotta do. And so everybody's looking at her like, whoa, where'd that come from, And so this is the only way that she's able to speak. And everybody's just like, it's a classroom full of private school kids. And so, of course, they are just like, whoa, what the hell is going on? Like, why is she talking like that? And so, but yeah, that was it. And it was just like a really effed up impersonation of this dark-skinned black girl who she met at a coding class. Everything, was all, yo, so check it, okay, and this is what we gotta do, all right, okay, booze, and, just all this stuff, and it's just like, all right. And then I guess it was maybe the next day, she comes to class and gets called on and starts going into the whole black scent thing again, and then she just breaks down and says, look, I am a girl who was homeschooled my whole life, and I was just too embarrassed to speak, and that's the only way that I was able to do it, but this is really who I am, just this, little awkward girl, yada, yada, yada. And then everybody's like, oh, okay, now it makes sense, now we understand, like, we didn't understand why this little light-skinned girl was speaking like some little hood girl from Bed-Stuy, because that's also where Brianna was from, and it had to come out, I guess, that she was from Bed-Stuy in New York, and so yeah, just a really horrible depiction, I thought, and especially to go so young, a horrible depiction of a young black girl. I didn't like that. Now, that's one thing, so I'm going to ask you, does that one incident make Rev Run colorist? Now, again, that coupled with the casting already that he has done for the show, for his own family. So, you all let me know what you all think about it. And let me know if you've seen the show. Is this an overreaction? Is it just like, okay, you're reading too deep into it now? Because people say that about everything I say, especially when it comes to these TV shows. Oh God, I had so many people upset with me because I said that, I didn't really understand why the hell Sandra and Denise Huxtable looked the way they did when you look at Claire and Cliff. And then, people, well, that can happen. Black people come in all shades. Yes, it can happen. And it's very rare that two very dark people or two dark chocolate people have very light-skinned children who look biracial. I mean, so cut out the BS. Like, can we talk about this like in a realistic manner? That's if we're gonna talk about it. Let's just. I'm not saying that everyone has to agree with me, but can we keep some things a buck, right? Okay, so that's that as far as that's concerned. But then there were some other things that just make me wonder, as women as a whole, do we need to support him because of some things that I saw on this talk show with him and Tyrese that is now, thank God, canceled. Didn't even hear the show until Poetry told me about it when I let her know that I was going to be doing this video. And she's like, oh yeah, that wouldn't surprise me if he's colorist. I know he said a lot of effed up stuff with Tyrese in this book they did together. And then I didn't even know that the book basically got kind of a spin-off, if you will, with this talk show that was put on OWN. So we'll get into that next. Before we get into the talk show, I'm just going to make sure that when I do this video, I'm going to put a photograph of Rev Run's daughters, real life daughters, and then the young lady, Kiana Brown, who's cast as his oldest daughter in this show. And I just want to put it out there because, like I said, let me know what you all think about the way she looks. In the group cast picture that I'm putting up for this video, she does appear to look like she could be maybe mixed with black, and it looks like her makeup is a lot darker than what it appears to be on the show. On the side-by-side picture that I'm going to put up, that is the way that she looks on the show, and that made me feel like, this girl, is she black? Like that's why I had to look it up to see. But I do wonder if Rev Run's daughters feel any kind of way having this young lady as a depiction of them in this show. And then we talk about just the subject of black erasure in the media, and it seems like it's happening especially with black women, but even with black men, that it seems as though people are more comfortable with using biracial and multiracial people and calling them black rather than just using black people, because overall the media accepts lighter skin and things that are closer, to Eurocentric than real life black people. And so I kind of feel like this is an example of that. So just wanted to put those pictures up and make that comparison. Now I'll go on and get into is he a misogynist? Will you support him? Let me know. Okay, so forgive me because I am going to be glancing at my notes throughout the rest of this video because I wasn't familiar with any of this Rev Run stuff before I started looking into it, only because my sister brought up the TV show on Netflix. And so when I was looking to see if there were other colorist statements or actions associated with him, I didn't find that. But misogynistic, yes, very much so. There was a show that came on the OWN network, on Oprah's network, called It's Not You, It's Men. And that apparently was based on a book that Reverend Run and Tyrese had together called Manology, Secrets of Your Man's Mind Revealed. Another book I will not be getting. So anyway, I was looking at just some of the comments about the show. I read an article about the show having been canceled, and I was reading the comments section on that article. And in a nutshell, this is what a lot of the people were saying. Glad that it's canceled. Tyrese is really immature. Reverend Run is too preachy. Both of them are very misogynistic. What they said to Amber was trash, and I didn't know what they said to Amber, so I had to look up, a clip to see what they were talking about. If a woman is dressed like a hoe, then she should expect to be treated like one. Didn't know what that meant, but that had something to do with Amber Rose. And so, yeah, both of the comments, well, all the comments about both of the men were bad. Well, not all. A lot of them were. Whatever was bad for Reverend Run was worse for Tyrese. Tyrese definitely got a lot worse comments than Reverend Run did. But, so yeah, that was what I saw before I got to watch some clips of the show for myself. And that's what I'll get into. Just a couple of things I'll hit on, because again, all this stuff is out there for everyone to see, and I want us to make our own decision, but I do want to get a conversation started. So because so many people were saying that what they said to Amber was trash, what they said to Amber was effed up, I had to look and see what they said to Amber Rose. They were talking about Amber Rose. And thanks to YouTube, I was able to find a clip of their canceled show, and I was able to get some of I think that I got the gist of that discussion. I won't lie and say that I was able to see the whole episode, but I got probably a good 8-minute clip of that show. And Tyrese said some really fucked up things too, but he is also on our list, so I will address his comments at a later time. I don't want to put Tyrese's comments on Reverend Run. He may or may not feel the same way, probably does, but I don't want to put that on him. Okay, so basically, Amber Rose has her non-slut shaming platform, and she does her slut walk and everything, and I guess that maybe the whole tone of the show was kind of centered around that, or at least this segment was. And it opened with Tyrese making some ridiculous comparison that didn't really make sense about women being dressed a certain way and the kind of behavior they should expect from men based on that. Like I said, I'll discuss his exact comments when we talk about him. But Reverend Run, he gave that, let's see here, I'm trying to see, I don't know if I put it word for word, but basically he gave that tired thing that people always say, and I'm just saying that it's tired because so many people say it, but he said, well, the way that I hear it is people say you should dress the way that you want to be addressed. And then the audience starts clapping, and then Amber says, no, I'm not. And she's like, no, that's bullshit. Or maybe she said that's fucked up. Anyway, she said, I don't care if I am butt naked in the bed with a guy, and he has his condom on, and if I say no at that point, then no means no. That's it. And she was saying, if she goes to the club and she's dressed in her skimpy tight outfit, low cut, whatever, she's there. She's doing that because that makes her feel sexy. She thinks she looks sexy. She's going out with her girlfriend. She's not going out worried about fucking some guy because she's in a club. She's just having fun and in her mind looking good. So why does that mean that some man has the right to approach her in a way that she doesn't want, grope her, think he has the right to have sex with her because she's dressed in a manner that's, you know, provocative, because she's dressed like a hoe, you know? And, I mean, yeah, ladies, we have to be careful, but it's rare that I agree with Amber Rose, and I know I mentioned it on one of my live streams. I was 100% behind her when she got on social media, and started blasting people for coming at her son. I don't know if he's even 5 years old yet, but he got some Taylor Swift tickets and was all excited. People were calling him gay because of that. So I was behind her for blasting people for that. Amber Rose says a lot of stuff most of the time that I just don't agree with. But I do think, even if a woman, you know, if she's walking down the street in a string bikini, I expect men to look. I won't lie. I expect men to look. Is she doing it for attention? Maybe. But does that mean that they have the right to come and grab her string bikini, try to put their fingers up her whatever because she's wearing a string bikini? Does that give them the right to try to stuff her in their car and take her to some place and have sex with her because she's... No, like, I don't agree. I just feel like when these discussions come up too often, all of the responsibility is put on the women. You know, it's like, well, you know that men are going to look, you know, men are going to want to touch, you know, men are animals who can't control themselves, basically. And I don't know how men even feel comfortable with these types of comparisons, because that's basically what they're saying, you know. Men just don't have the brain capacity to understand that no means no, you know, is what it boils down to. So anyway, and then also when I hear the whole, you know, dressing like a hoe argument, you dress like a hoe, you get treated like a hoe argument that people always love to put on women in general. And I feel like black men can sometimes be a little bit harsh when they're putting that on black women in particular. Then I think, okay, well, if we want to dress how we want to be addressed, then what do we say about black men who dress like thugs? You know, and I'm not saying that it's right, but when, you know, when black guys get shot down in the streets because the police thought that they were thugs because their pants were sagging and they were wearing whatever kind of tennis shoes and because they were wearing a hoodie, you know, that's kind of I mean, to me, that's a similar comparison, but let me know what you think about it. And I don't think that either one is right. I'm not saying that, you know, women should be allowed to dress like hoes and not get treated like hoes, but men should be allowed to, you know, men should not be allowed to dress like thugs and not expect to get killed. No, I'm saying that, you know, you dress how you dress, and then hopefully people will care about who you are, your character, and see through just this outward shell and what you're wearing on this particular day. Yeah, maybe you felt like thugging it out today, but you might have a whole closet full of business suits at home. You know, yeah, you might feel like dressing like a hoe today, but again, you know, you might have a whole wardrobe full of church clothes at home. You just felt like switching it up. No one should feel the right to treat you a certain way based on how you're dressed, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that. And I could tell from the round of applause that Rev Run was getting from the audience, from men and women, when he, you know, brought that up. You know, you dress how you want to be addressed. Okay, Rev Run, I mean, I guess, but that's that. And then I'll go on and get to the other episode, and I'm debating on whether or not I'm going to play the clip, the audio clip of that, so you can hear his words for yourself. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is my first time playing an audio clip for you all. Let me see if this comes out well, and just to be on the safe side, I will go on and read what he said, because I did write it down verbatim. So give me just a second here and let me know. Well, I'll be able to see when I edit this if you all can hear it. So here's what Rev Run had to say about working women.
For me, a woman can have a job, right? Mm-hmm. And it's okay. 9 to 5 is fine. It's just, my problem is when it's 9 to 9. You come home, and then after you get home, you still got on your work hat. I want you to be able to take off your work hat, put on some lingerie or something, or cook, you know, dinner or do something feminine. I want to be able to smell
act
the
like
perfume.
a lady.
Girl, The girly stuff.
Like, you're a lawyer.
Okay, so Tyrese started talking. Like I said, I don't want to mix his opinions and just throw him and Reverend Run in one boat. Even though I know that they agree on some things, I don't want to just, put his opinions on Reverend Run. So, just in case you didn't hear it, he said, a woman can have a job, right? And it's okay. 9 to 5 is fine. My problem is when it's 9 to 9, you come home, and then after you get home, you still got your work hat on. I want you to be able to take off your work hat, put on some lingerie or something, cook dinner, or do something feminine. I want to be able to smell the perfume. And then Tyrese cut him off and said something even much worse, in my opinion. And so, it's a couple of things here. So, Reverend Run obviously has made enough money in his lifetime to not have a woman who works, if that's what the family decides that, that needs to be what's going on with employment situations there. But for women who do work and who work because we have to work, and depending on the type of job we have, work might still be a 9 to 9 thing. He says, 9 to 5 is okay, but not, sometimes 9 to 5 is okay. But depending on the type of work you have and the kind of demands that you have on your job, or in your career, you might have to go past, 5 o'clock to get some things done. I know I'm a construction project manager, and a 10, 12, 14-hour work day at the office was not anything uncommon, and then sometimes you do have to bring work home so that things can go smoothly the next day. I don't feel, maybe if he's dating an entry-level employee at a fast food restaurant, her day can truly end when she gets off work. Before a lot of women, a lot of people who work, period, the day doesn't end just because you clocked out, and I think it's an unrealistic expectation. And I say, that because, maybe in his mind, that is how things go, because he's been a millionaire, for a good period of time. So, maybe he doesn't understand what working people really have to go through. Maybe he doesn't understand what working women really need to go through, that, your work day does not always end just because you punch out, just because you clock out at the office. And that, now it's one thing for Reverend Run to say that, and he'll have a lot of men who agree with him. But the thing is that a lot of these men who agree with him, they don't make Reverend Run kind of money, do they? So we're dealing with guys who, are making 5 and 6 figure salaries. And they, so it's like a lot of us, are in a household where 2 people have to work. And so, but like the men, a lot of these men, they still want you to be Susie Q homemaker at the end of your work day. Like we both just worked 8 hours. We both just worked 10 hours, but now I need to come home and get in some lingerie and get you a beer and rub your feet, and probably in some cases take care of the kids and feed the dog, and all this stuff. And so it's just funny to me how a lot of these men talk about wanting those old school, traditional, feminine, delicate women, but you really can't afford to keep up a woman like that. Now, Reverend Run can. He can afford to do it. But a lot of guys who will agree with him can't, And so it's like, if you want to be that old school, if you want me, or if you want a woman to be that old school woman, then you got to be that old school man who took care of everything so that she didn't have to go to work, so that she can stay at home all day and have your house tidied up and, take care of the kids and make sure the kids are fed and have done their homework and, are bathed and in bed, by 8:30 so that y'all two can have sexy time together, at the end of the night and everything, and you know, she can go and get her pedicures and manicures and get her hair done and all those things, you know, because you're out there making a living and busting your ass and taking care of her to do those things. Now, if a man, you know, makes Rev Run kind of money, he's saying that thing, those types of things, and that's one thing. But I also think that Rev Run is a bit out of touch with how real people have to live, and certainly a real woman, if she's working in any kind of career where her field is a competitive field, you don't just stop working when the day is over at the office. And so I thought that to be misogynistic, in my opinion, but definitely out of touch. Tyrese's comments were even more stupid, and we'll get into that when we talk about him. But that's pretty much all that I have to say about Rev Run. Will you support him? Do you consider him to be colorist? Was this just a colorist move that he made in this TV casting and you can look past it? Will you support his future endeavors? Now, I can say for myself, and let me know how you all feel about it. You all might say that it's hypocritical. I love Run DMC, and I don't see myself ever not listening to Run DMC. Don't know that I'll go out and like buy some Run DMC music, but if I'm listening to it on YouTube, is Rev Run benefiting from that? Am I supporting Rev Run if I listen to his music on YouTube or some other way that I don't have to outright pay for it? But as far as his future endeavors, if he puts out another season of this stupid ass All About the Washington show, you can be for sure that I won't be tuning in. If he gets another book deal or another talk show or whatever, I won't be tuning in. I won't be a part of it. He has some very antiquated views on a woman's role in a relationship, for sure. So I guess that's all that I have to say about the good old Reverend Run. I do love Run DMC, like I said, and I won't stop listening to that. But let me know where you stand as far as supporting him. Do you think that this is all just a bunch of hooey and it doesn't matter? I just want to know what you think. But I'm glad to be back and glad to be having the discussion. And also, if you all have another person who we need to add to our list, then let me know. I'm going to pause this video right now and I'll get my list. And let me know who you want me to make the next video on. If I don't get any suggestions, I'll just go on and move on to Tyrese, because in my researching for this video, I was able to get so much information about Tyrese already, and so it'll be easy. But if you all steer me in another direction, then I'll go there. And I've already gotten 2 suggestions on women who are colorist as well. So give me anyone who's colorist in your opinion, and all that I will do is do the research and put the information out there and give you all the, leave you with the decision on whether or not you want to support them. Because again, I believe that that's the best thing that we can do as far as people in the entertainment industry and this colorism thing is concerned. When we know that they are colorists, do not support them. If you care about how Black women, how dark-skinned women are treated, how they are promoted, how they are discussed, how they are talked about in the media, then support them. Show that you care and do your part. And if you have other ways that we can find it, then let me know. My goal is, at the end of the day, is that when people tweet those colorist tweets or make colorist statements in open media and news interviews or whatever, that they will feel really, really stupid about it, because hopefully a bunch of people will just get on their asses and blast them for it. And I don't see enough of that happening now. I want people to be feeling stupid when they decide to open their mouths and speak against dark-skinned women just because they're dark. But let me pause this and I will get that list. Okay, so here's who we have left on the list. Tyrese, Trick Daddy, Taye Diggs, Stormzy, Kevin Hart, Kanye West, Lil Wayne, Gilbert Arenas, and I recently added Lance Gross because I saw something come up with him. But again, I have another list started for women based on the 2 suggestions that I got that was left in the comments on the last video that I did. And so if you have men or women you want to discuss of any race, because it's not just Black men who can be colorist against Black women. it's not just black women who can be colorist against black women. So let me know, whoever it is, and I'll do the research. If you have some specific articles or videos, then that's always a huge help. Let me know, and let's just keep this discussion going. I'm really enjoying it. Thank you all so much for joining me and for coming back to my channel after all this long break that I took. I appreciate it, and I'm just looking forward to keeping discussions going with you all. Love you all. Have a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.